There is one thing that you can never say on a cruise ship or you're going to get kicked off. Unfortunately, this happened to someone on our cruise. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And this is JJ Cruise.
Cruise.
Thank you so much for tuning in and watching today. We're going to talk about the one thing that you could say on a cruise ship that will get you automatically kicked off the ship. Now, there's just things that you don't say. You don't talk about having firearms in the airport. You don't talk about playing with a Ouija board at church. And you definitely do not say this one thing while at sea. And before we get to that, if you could do us a favor and subscribe to the channel, we are getting so close to 30,000 subscribers, and we would love for you all to be a part of the first 30K.
Yes, be a part of the 30K crew. And while you're at it, hit that thumbs up to tell us that you're there watching.
So to preface this story, this actually happened to us several years ago. This was very early on in our relationship with cruising and happened before, well, this channel ever existed.
But we were reminded about this because something very similar happened on the cruise we just got off of.
When that happened, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, this feels familiar. And we remembered, oh my gosh, yes, we've seen this happen. So this happened, I think, in like 2017 on one of our first cruises that we ever took. And let's just say alcohol was involved in the scenario, but let's just set the scene.
Yes.
So we are at the pool bar on this ship having, well, a couple of drinks. And there was another passenger there that wasn't necessarily rowdy, but he was just really loud.
Yeah, he was the life of the bar, in all honesty. And you know, there's some people that have their first drink of the day at the pool bar, and there's some of them that have been there for a while. And he was one that has been there for a while, but he was talking to anyone and everyone at the bar. Now, we were about day 5 into our 7-night cruise. We had one cruise port left, and then we were back home, disembarking from our cruise vacation.
Now, somehow the topic of money came up, and there was a financial conversation going on amongst everyone there at the bar. This guy specifically was talking about how much money he had spent on the cruise vacation itself, as well as how much money him, his wife, and his kids had spent on board. Now, if you're new to cruising, when you get on a cruise ship, you're going to get this plastic little card that will be linked to a credit card. And sometimes it feels like you were just given a brand new credit card with an unlimited amount of funds on it.
And that's exactly how his family felt for that cruise. And, you know, I'm not going to say the amount here because it was kind of funny. But at the same time, we know that it can be different for everyone here, and perspectives of money is different depending on who you are and where your money's coming from. But for him, it was a lot of money, and he made a joke at the bar that was taken a little bit more seriously than I think he intended.
Now, this guy was comparing his bill to everybody else at the bar. So he was looking at Jared and I, being like, how much have you guys spent? He was looking at the lady across the bar, being like, how much have you spent? And then all of the sudden, in a very joking, sarcastic manner, he said, well, I have spent so much money that I may as well throw myself off the ship so I don't have to pay.
Of course, this was all in jest. He was talking about it drunkenly, but also, in all honesty, it was something you just don't say. Well, the crew heard at the bar, and you could tell that they were doing something. They were talking to each other. They called somebody, and within minutes, there was an officer there and security, and he was being escorted away. Now, at first we thought, this has gotta be because he's too drunk, because he was really had his limit. And I think the crew thought, oh, maybe he's annoying people at the bar. Little did we know that was not the case at all. It is what he had said that had got him escorted from the bar into a little bit of a sticky situation.
Something we know today that we did not know back then is that the crew is actually trained to listen for these types of phrases or words like jump overboard or throw myself off the ship. And they must report that to their bosses, the officers, and security as soon as something like that is heard. We also learned really quickly that it wasn't just because this guy was too drunk. He actually had a security guard standing outside his door for the rest of that sea day and into the evening.
We actually saw him get escorted into an inside stateroom with that security guard outside his door, which was really alarming to us because we knew, based on the talk that he said, that his whole family was staying in a balcony stateroom. Of course, you can't leave somebody in a balcony stateroom with a security guard outside the door if the claim of jumping overboard is a serious threat. And that is what we learned why he was put in an inside stateroom.
We also learned that the next day, while we were at port in Cozumel, Mexico, he was escorted off the ship. So he literally was kicked off the ship because of this whole incident. This is not something that the crew or the captain mess around with at all. If they hear you say something like this, there is a good chance that you are automatically going to get removed from the ship and you may not be allowed to come back.
We, of course, understand this completely and have watched what we say, not like we ever say that to begin with, but we want people to know out there that these words can really impact your cruise vacation. And of course, more importantly, it can really put warning signs out there that you might be more serious than you're thinking you're leading on to. Of course, we know that this might not be the only thing out there that can get you kicked off of a cruise ship. So if you've heard of a situation like this or something similar that we need to know about, please feel free to put it down in the comments below. We love to hear your stories of what you've either witnessed or have heard in the roll call pages for people getting kicked off ships.
The results of saying words like this really are up to the crew and the captain on board the ship. So, maybe you've seen something different. However, I would just heed everyone watching to stay away from ever using this type of language if you don't want your cruise vacation interrupted.
Thanks so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button and the like button. Until next time, see ya.